Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. It's your host Ram, welcoming you to the Saturday's edition rather of the Cricket Happenings, with some very very sad news for cricket, where the West Indies for the first time have been thrown out of the ODI World Cup, which is coming up in India, and that's really sad. I know it is. It's an upset by Scotland, but well, one really feels for the West Indies. West Indies, the all-powerful team, winning the World Cup in 1975. They won the World Cup in 1979. They lost to India in 1983, and after that, in ODI World Cups, the West Indians are having an absolute slump. T20 World Cup, they won it, but last in 2022, I reckon that the West Indies were also thrown out of the T20 World Cup. Now, this is not good news for the West Indies. West Indies have a new director who has been appointed, Bascom, and one hopes that he really brings in some measures and starts reviving the West Indian cricket as quickly as possible. One really feels sorry for the West Indies that they had to go through this particular process because we know that they didn't do well in the league stages, and this was the first match of the Super Sixes. But with Scotland causing a huge upset here, and for West Indies, I think it's a matter of great soul searching right now because they also lost. They have lost to associate nations. I mean, you can't call them associate because they are a part of the setup now, but they have lost to Netherlands in a manner which was some of the super over, as you remember, and now they have also lost to Scotland. So that really has really said, they're really thrown West Indies out of the World Cup. And one really feels sorry for the West Indies because we know West Indies as a very very powerful team with their battery of pace bowlers, with their a battery of dashing and dynamic batsmen, and to see them succumb in such a fashion, it really really pains. I only wish that West Indies really get out of this morass that are they into, and they really prove it to the world that they can revive their cricket back and come back into full reckoning in all formats of the game. Well, so this was just an sort of an epitaph, I would say, that I had to read for the West Indies, unfortunately. So I'll be talking about the West Indies versus Scotland game, and Scotland definitely looking like a quality team. We saw the other day how Netherlands beat the West Indies with Van Beek going absolutely big with Jason Holder in the super over, one of the best super overs that one has seen, where lots of runs were scored. So now looking at this particular game, and also after I talk about the West Indies Scotland game, we will also have a look. I will also have a look at the Australia England second Ashes Test, which is on a very very tantalizing situation, one could call, with England on the final day needing 257 runs for victory. They have 6 wickets, in fact, and the Aussies need to knock off 6 wickets. And Aussies, we know, their pace bowlers have they come up with a bouncer barrage, and they definitely, Australia knows that they don't have Nathan Lyon in the ranks, especially on the final day, with no genuine spinner in your ranks. It really makes it all the more difficult. So, but I'll talk about that later. But let's keep the topic going on the West Indies versus Scotland now. Now, talking about the West Indies Scotland game, well, first and foremost, at the Harare Sports Club today in this Super Six 23rd match of the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifier, it was a very good toss to win for the Scotland captain Richie Berrington, who won the toss and decided to put the West Indians into bat. And let me talk about this wonderful all-rounder in the making for the Scottish team. Name Brandon McMillan. The other day he scored a century, and today he absolutely shaved the top half of the West Indian batting order. And look at the wickets that he took. He took some key wickets. He took the wicket of Johnson Charles for not. He dismissed Shamar Brooks for not. And then he also had Brandon King absolutely fooled by a delivery when he spooned it back to McMillan. He was gone for 22, as many balls with 5 boundaries. So definitely the damage was done in the early part itself with the weather conditions, and also, as you know, right in the early stages, the ball does a lot in Zimbabwe, and that's what precisely happened. And the score read 25 for 3 after 5.2 overs. And then Shai Hope could not do much. He was gone for 13 to the bowling of Sharif. Kyle Mayers also was clean bowled by Soul for 5. Then, Nicholas Pooran and Jason Holder were trying to stem the tide, but only in as much as they could only Puran could only get on to 21 before Mark Watt tempted him with the delivery. Nicholas Puran went for the slog sweep shot, and McBride took the catch in the fence. Jason Holder was the highest scorer with 45 of 79 deliveries with 3 fours and 1 6. Romario Shepherd gave a bit of support with good 36 of 43, 5 boundaries. Other than that, there was nothing to talk about, and the West Indians were bowled out by the Scottish team in 43.5 overs to 181. Looking at the bowling figures, that man, Brendan McMillan, first with the ball. He has already shown his ability with the bat, and definitely he's going to be singled out as one of the players for the future for Scotland. Brendan McMillan, 9 overs, no maidens, 32 runs, and 3 wickets. 2 wickets for 43 for Chris Soul, 1 for 16 Safyan Sharif, 2 for 25 for the wonderful left-arm spinner Mark Watt, and 2 wickets for 30 for the leggy Chris Graves. Now, Scotland were told to chase a total of 181. The start was not good. Holder knocked off Christian McBride for naught, but Matthew Cross and Brandon McMillan combined superbly. They rotated the strike. They took their time at the crease and slowly started, getting runs. And the partnership started growing in proportion, and it grew in a really big way as 125 runs were added by this pair. And Brandon McMillan, I have to say, he has some classic strokes in his repertoire. The way he actually hit Alzari Joseph for a 6, that was an absolute dashing shot from him. And then we saw in an imperious manner, he just lofted the spinner, I think it was Kevin Sinclair, into the crowd. So definitely this man, as I said, he's having all the strokes in his book, and I'm definitely looking forward to Brandon McMillan as the player of the future for Scotland. Not only player of the future, as an all-rounder for the future for Scotland. Matthew Cross did a fantastic job with all his experience as he carved out an unbeaten 74 of 107 balls. He brought the winning victory as well with 74 not out with 7 boundaries of 176 deliveries. And then Munzi made 18. Berrington, the captain, came there and just completed the formalities, not out on 13 of 14 with 2 boundaries. And game over. It was a 7-wicket victory. A very, very convincing victory at that by the Scottish team over the West Indies. And looking at the bowling, Jason Holder, 1 for 37, was the best bowler on show, one could call. Alzari Joseph definitely did all that he could. What a luckless bowler he has been. I mean, the previous matches, catches were dropped of him. And also, I'm talking about the West Indies. One more thing that I would like to talk about is it is not only the batting and the bowling that has deserted them, but even their catching, their ground fielding, and everything has been something which has not been up to par. So as I said, West Indies definitely need to get out of this morass. It's a big thing for that new coach Darren Sammy and his troops to really rally and come back in a really a sort of a manner that the West Indies are supposed to play, which the Calypso brand of cricket. And definitely one would love to see West Indies back in their full colours and blooming with confidence. Yes, there was one good bowling spell by Akil Hussain, 10 overs, 1 for 26, 8 overs, none 41 for the Rana Mafi, St. Clair, Mayers 4 overs, none for 22. So that was the story of the West Indies versus Scotland. And congratulations to Scotland, because this was their first ever win by Scotland against the West Indies. And what a victory! It was a maiden win, a very special moment for Scotland. And I'm sure the celebrations for Scotland would have gone out throughout the night today. And may they enjoy. And West Indies, my commiserations to the West Indies that they are not making it up to the World Cup in India. But well, as I said, it's a matter of rallying together and coming back as that same powerful West Indies team that we all knew in the 1970s. So let's 1975 to 80. They're really ruling the roost, as one would call it. Now let's have a look at what's happening in the second Ashes test between Australia and England. As I said, we are into the fourth day. So I'm just going to do a brief summary as far as this particular test is concerned. The Australians were the ones who batted first. They put up a very good score on the board of 416, led by Stephen Smith's 32nd test ton, 110 with 15 boundaries. 66, David Warner walking into some form there finally, bowled by Tank for 66. And then we had some contributions from Usman Khwaja, Manus Labuschagne with 47. 22 apiece coming from Carey and Pat Cummins. Looking at the bowling for the Englishmen, it was Ollie Robinson 3 for 100 and 3 for 98 for Josh Tongue. Josh Tongue, I was a bit skeptical about it initially. If you had read my comments on Twitter and Facebook and everything, I had definitely mentioned that Josh Tongue for me was a sort of a very surprising selection, considering that he was only one test old. But I think Ben Stokes had immense confidence. I think he has definitely reposed the confidence that the captain had in him, because I felt that probably Mark Wood would have been the better choice, looking at the greenish tinge at the Lord's Cricket Ground. But the England think tank decided that they will go for Tongue, and Tongue has definitely proved himself. He has shown that he can hit the deck hard and he can get that ball to lift onto your chin or into your rib cage, and he has also got the wickets. He has been rewarded for that in both the innings, so he has done a wonderful job. I basically I think my judgment was totally wrong, because I felt we needed some sort of a real zip into it, and I thought Mark Wood would have been the ideal choice, with being a genuine pacer, and besides England being one down, I thought Mark Wood would have been the ideal choice. But probably, these are things, you can make your judgment, and your judgment can go wrong, and that's what precisely happened with me as well. So talking about the game here, Robinson 3 wickets. Josh Tongue has been impressive with his bowling. He looks to be a real bowler, developing for England, no doubt about it. And then we saw how the baseball cricket. England definitely played baseball cricket, no doubt about it. They continued with the baseball cricket, being all out for 325, so definitely conceding a big lead to the Aussies. And looking at the English card there, Ben Duckett played a good hand. He made a nice 98, which included 9 boundaries. 48 from Zach Crawley, who's a wonderful stroke maker. 42 from Oli Pope. Harry Brook got into some touch as well. Finally, 50 with 4 boundaries. 325 all out for England. So again, that's a lead. And then again, what we saw from the Aussies is in this particular test match. One thing, the feature of this particular test match has been, even though it has been baseball cricket from England, Australia played their own type of, they call it baseball cricket, where the England go absolutely hammer and tongs against the opposition. But I would call this some sort of, I like to coin a term for Aussies actually going hard on the English batsmen when they're playing the baseball cricket, by something like bounce cricket, because what they did is that they really used the bouncer in such a manner that they got some wickets. I mean, they really had this English team into a real spin with bouncing them out, and that was really good to see. So this was a sort of an answer to the baseball cricket England were playing, but nevertheless England still played baseball cricket. But Aussies also, I thought, won the race a bit on this score. 3 to Mitchell Stark, 2 wickets to Josh Hazelwood, 1 wicket apiece to Nathan Lyon coming in. And what a sad sight it was when Nathan Lyon actually trooped off from the Lords after injuring his calf when trying to actually intercept probably a ball, I think, on the fence. It was very sad, and he was, I mean, he's someone who is going to be out of the Ashes series, and that's a big, big blow to the Aussies. Looking at and I think that is going to give the one who made the debut against India, Todd Murphy, who had a good time. He is going to get a chance into the Australian setup. So that's a gain for Todd Murphy, but a big loss for Nathan Lyon and the Aussie team. Looking at the Australian second innings today, again England started serving the dose that Australians served to them. They went on to the bouncer barrage, and we saw how they really got the wickets. Usman Khawaja was bounced out by Stuart Broad, but not before making 77 with 12 boundaries. And then we saw Marnus, I think it was Stephen Smith who was bounced out by Tongue. Then Travis Head, who normally is a sort of a real shaky starter when it comes to short pitch stuff. Broad bowled the perfect delivery, and they had him in the cotton, the fourth shot. What a catch by Joe Root! I mean, you need tremendous reflexes. He really anticipated well, put his left hand before the ball hit the turf, and just picked it inches off the ground. So that was something which was a real catch, one could call. And then Labuschagne made 30. Then we have the bouncers bowled by Ollie Robinson, who bounced out Cameron Green and Alex Carey for 18 and 21 respectively. Finally, and what another thing I need to tell. Now I wouldn't know as to. I mean, Nathan Lyon was absolutely limping. They were showing it on the telly. Even in the long room in Lodge, he was limping. I felt extremely sorry for him to see Nathan Lyon being sent just for the sake of it. I mean, I wouldn't know whose decision this was. If it was the decision of the Australian think tank, I'm sorry to say on this cricket show, that was a very foolhardy decision. It's a very foolhardy decision to send someone who is injured to the maximum, and he is the one who is absolutely limping on the ground. He's coming. He's playing. He's trying. I mean, that the England bowlers are very, very strong and powerful bowlers, and I really felt sorry. I felt like a rabbit has been sent into the stadium to face the Englishman. I mean, I felt really sorry for Nathan Lyon. And as I said, if it's Nathan Lyon's decision to be brave and come out, well, I would wish good luck to him, and I'm very happy to really really appreciate Nathan Lyon's bravery in coming down and facing this English attack in such a situation. But if this is sort of a thing which has been done by the English think tank, the Australian think tank, I'm sorry to say it's not a good decision. And nevertheless, 279. So that really set the target for the Aussies on the fourth day, 371 runs to win the match. Looking at the bowling, it was Stuart Broad who was the pick 4 for 65, and it was Robinson and Tongue also figuring among it with 2 wickets apiece. England, 371 runs to win the match. And look at the scoreboard at the end of the day. They were in all sorts of trouble. 45 for 4. Mitchell Stark started it all when Zach Crawley was the first to go, as there was a ball which was bowled down the leg side. It was an absolute strangler from Mitchell Stark, and Alex Carey behind the sticks picked up the catch of the bowling of Mitchell Stark. So Stark giving a great breakthrough there. And then He picked up Ollie Pope by cleaning him up with a wonderful delivery, a swinging delivery, and had his off stump knocked back. It was middle stump, I reckon. It was his middle stump which was knocked back, and that was Ollie Pope into the pavilion. And then it was the turn of Cummins to produce some brilliant deliveries. He had shaken up Joe Root in that over with a really big shot pitch delivery, and there he comes with another, and this was an absolutely a brute of a delivery, and Root trying to with trying to push the ball, and the ball suddenly started gaining height, and all that he could see is the ball bobbing into the first slip, and that was the end of Joe Root for 18. And then Harry Brook got an absolutely a pearler of a delivery, which is a leg cutter, which really straightened after pitching on the same. Brook was absolutely caught on the crease, and then the squaring up meant his off stump was just knocked off, and that was the end of the wickets for England. 4 down for 45, and after that, definitely both Ben Duckett and Ben Stokes had knuckled on, but Ben Duckett definitely played with refreshing freedom. He's got to his second 50 of this test match. He was not out on 50 with 6 boundaries, and it was Ben Stokes was not out on 29 with 1 4 and 1 6. 114 for 4 was the final tally. And as I said, tomorrow's day is a tantalizing day. The match could go anywhere. It could go Aussie way, it could go England way, but Aussies, to me, are looking the favourites right now. 257 runs to get, but there is this pair of Stokes and Ben Duckett, and Stokes and Ben Duckett would be the key. But after that, if you look at the team, yes, Johnny Bairstow, they still have a lot of batting to come, no doubt about it. But definitely a really tantalizing day in prospect tomorrow at the Lord's Cricket Ground on the final day. Mitchell Starc, 2 for 40 and 2 for 20 for Pat Cummins for the wicket takers. And as I said, they would definitely be missing Nathan Lyon on the final day, with lots of spots being formed on the pitch, a lot of foot marks where the spinners can really take advantage of. But really looking forward to a tantalizing day tomorrow in the Lord's Test match tomorrow in the Ashes battle. Well, dear fans and subscribers, hope you all loved this broadcast, and looking forward to your company once more tomorrow on a Sunday when I'll be back with the proceedings. Unless I see you tomorrow, it's all over for now, and it's good night.